In the studio, James Creedon's revved up, ready to go. Good evening, sir. Carlos Ghosn, of course, is what we're going to talk about. Former head of Renault, Nissan, Mitsubishi, holding court in Beirut, having escaped Japanese justice, or injustice, as he put it, in large musical instrument cases. I mean, you couldn't make this kind of thing up, but there he was, in 2 hours, basically spouting forth about how the Japanese police were, well, a bad sort.
That's right. Easy for the scriptwriters. It's kind of been done when it comes out, not if, when.
It's a question of time, isn't it? Perhaps we should write it.
Well, there you go. There's certainly just a bit of tweaking, that's all. Now, what's interesting here is it was a big PR event. There's no doubt about that. And just a little bit of the background to it, the Belgian media is looking at who organised it. She's been called here in French la papesse de la com, the female pope of communications. Just the Pope of communications, let's not bring gender into it. And there she is. She previously was helping François Fillon, former Prime Minister of failed presidential.
Well, that didn't go well, did it?
No, didn't. Let's hope for a better result this time from his point of view. Bernard Arnault, head of LVMH, and various other CAC 40 bigwigs have been helped and aided by this lady.
A woman involved in communications with her finger on the button of influence, basically.
That's it. So it was really an attempt to, I suppose, hoist up his reputation after he was, of course, wanted. Well, he was under house arrest for over a year. The Carlos Show, it was called by many, including Marianne, left-leaning Daily here, saying it was almost like a defence plea meets psychoanalysis session. Carlos Ghosn was, doing his little show. And so lots of others were sort of coming up with the same, riffing off the same thing. This is a Japanese Twitter user saying, Ghosn is gone, the show must go on. I don't think he was the only one who came up with that, but there you go. I think it's very good. Now,
I'm sure I wanted the headline saying "Ghosn gone" when he got.
It's the headline for me to watch this evening. I didn't look any further.
Ghosn gone. Okay.
So there you go. Google it and you'll find this again. Anyway, Carlos Ghosn. All of the rolling news channels, including our own, held it. It did the whole 2-hour thing.
We took the whole lot, didn't we?
That's it. With quotes such as this one: "Why Japan is paying me with evil for the good I've done to the country." So there was quite a lot of drama.
You never answered the question about where. What's the story behind this 33 million euros of supposedly hidden cash? He never really got into that, did he?
He didn't get into the nitty-gritty.
And we didn't expect him to, did we, really?
Yeah. And I'll show you a couple of comments in French in a moment that really bring that up. But just before we get to it, Japanese TV didn't go with the rolling press conference, Mark. They instead did a whole live sort of rollout of the press conference of the Minister for Justice, who said, hold on a minute, this was a rather one-sided event. So it is interesting to see how it all played out. Now, just quickly, if you look at Lebanese Twitter users, they were very elogious of their countryman.
Because he holds 3 nationalities, Brazilian, French and Lebanese.
That's right. Born in Brazil of more or less Lebanese parents and spent a lot of his childhood and education there. I did not escape justice, I escaped injustice. So the kind of more flattering quotes going up there. Some parroting what he was saying about him being a victim of the Japanese conspiracies. Others calling him a Japanese legend. Now, it really kind of depended on who you were looking at or who you were listening to, rather, because some in France were much more critical. This Twitter user here saying the press conference of Carlos Ghosn demonstrates that justice must be done in the courts and not through the media. He's a skillful speaker. He seems easily convincing and quickly creates empathy. The complexity of such a file cannot be dealt with in a few minutes.
It's a spectacular fall from grace, though, isn't it? Because, there was even a manga comic in Japan dedicated to him.
Right. Because
of this sort of amazing business superhero that he was. Right. Then, of course, he finds himself in jail, then under house arrest and everything taken away.
That's it.
A remarkable transformation.
But the nitty-gritty of whether or not money went missing was not addressed, as you said.
And it's a lot of money.
It is a lot of money. Now, cartoonists, there was a kind of the whole how he escaped thing, despite it kind of not necessarily being a big factor in the press conference today, has thrilled Twitter users online. So this is Bloomberg. Carlos Ghosn left his house in Tokyo wearing a hat and a surgical-style mask and took a train to Osaka. So he looked something like this as he was leaving
so he gets on the bullet train looking like that. Okay,
that's right.
Okay.
Looking like that. And then apparently got into this. That's the Wall Street Journal, who obtained a photo of the audio equipment case used by Carlos Ghosn.
You and I are about the same height. He's about an inch shorter than both of us. Would we fit into that?
He had to be...
I wouldn't. You're thinner than me.
There were little holes punched in the bottom of it so he could breathe. And let's just imagine he was quite scrunched up. I'll finish with this. Well, that's a suitcase you see there, somebody imagining him getting on the plane. I'll finish with this cartoon. The case giving the press conference saying, Black cases are not my thing. Let's replace black cases with brown envelopes in terms of wordplay in French.
James, thank you very much indeed. James Crewman, Media Watch, as ever, inimitable. Thank you. Kate with the business. Thanks. And thanks to you for watching too. Stay with us. More to come live from Paris.